Hey, what's up guys? Koopa here, and today we're going to be talking about the most advanced tips and tricks, everything there is to know, all the secrets, the best way to do things in Iron Throne. I would just like to say this is a sponsored Netmarble Iron Throne video. However, it looks like I'm playing Pokemon Dragon Go. Yeah. Diadem Sanctuary. Yeah. Alright, I didn't catch it that time. Alright, where is it? There it is. Feed it. Wait, feed it. There we go. Got him. First things first, you have the events. Now, the solo event and Super Inferno events are two things that happen every hour on the hour. So if I go to the Inferno event, and if you notice, you have different tiers of rewards. If you scroll down, you'll be able to see what kind of rewards you can obtain. Now, if you notice, the Sagacious Material Chest, you get a significant amount of these if you do get the most amount of points within the hour. These are used to make some of the best gear in the game, which will allow you to realistically be able to complete like your research projects or your constructions, or to be able to obtain like some of the best combat equipment anyone can have. So for this event specifically, you have to make troops. So this is a good time to pop training buffs, put on your training gear, and make as many as you possibly can within a short time frame. So then if you go to the rewards, if you do become one of the top players, you actually get a ton of gold, resources, also some items that are very exclusive that you can't really get anywhere else unless you're spending money. One of the big things I wanted to hit in this video is how important gathering is in war games. People abbreviate that in these types of games, they call it RSS. And so you need to be having your marches constantly gathering whenever you can. So as you can see right now, I have multiple nodes being gathered constantly. I always try and have this going. Like right before I go to bed, I make sure I have my marches out and I'm gathering as much as I can, because you can get millions of resources per hour if you're doing this. And if you're trying to play this game free to play or buy to play, and you're not like, you know, a crazy whale putting like, hundreds of dollars into this game, gathering is going to be one of the best ways for you to get resources. One of the big things when it comes to being able to gather efficiently in this game is by having heroes with the gathering gear. You can purchase this from the shop, but this gear is a pretty big deal in terms of how many resources you can collect in a time frame, because you can get gathering speed as well as troop capacity, and troop capacity enables it so that you can send one march out and basically have enough troops to be able to complete a node in one trip. And then the speed, of course, speaks for itself, basically where you can just complete it in a timely manner. So try to gather as many resources as you can to reach your goals in Iron Throne. On that same note of heroes, make sure you're always being cognitive that you have your correct heroes appointed for what you're trying to do. You always should have an architect with construction gear. That makes a huge difference. And once you get to level 20 academy, you need to make sure that you recruit the scholar and use Solace, because he gives you bigger research reduction. And if you can give him research gear, it even makes it even more stronger, because sometimes if you go into the academy and you go farther in and you look at the time required to complete some of the research, it takes a really long time. But with research gear, and if you have a scholar appointed with a correct research attribute, it makes those actually somewhat obtainable. And then the treasurer, this guy is interesting because this is one of the ones where you're probably gonna want to switch around depending on what you're doing. Like right now, I just finished training some troops, so I had him set with training gear, and he's a training EXP hero. However, I can replace him with now that I've finished training my troops. If I unequip him and I unequip my training gear, it doesn't change the amount of time that's going to affect how long it's going to take for these troops that I've already started for them to complete. So even if I take off 200% training 200% training time off after I start these, it doesn't affect the time of when I started these. So if I go heroes, I can do it as an example to kind of show you. So if I want to go into Tertio, my hero here, the one that actually has the training gear, so like right here you can see troop training speed 20%, training speed 20%, training speed 20%. I can switch this. So let's see what I should switch it to. I mean, since I'm not really doing anything right now, I don't really care about food production rate because my heroes just eat right through it. But this one, this production overseer's robe, I mean wood production, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to equip this item. Let's see what kind of helm I can do. Let's see, here's wood production 90%, that's pretty good. I'm gonna go on my weapon. This is food production. See, I don't really care about food production, but stone production, 15%, I'll take that. This offhand, I thought I had a good offhand for passive income. Yeah, this one's really good. And then what do we want to use here? Silver, 90%. Okay, so this is the type of gear on this hero that I want to have equipped when I'm not going to be training something. And then right before I train something, I put that training gear back onto my hero. It might seem kind of like a pain in the butt, but if you follow these steps, you'd be surprised on how big of an impact it can have in the long run. There's something I want to talk about with researching. Probably one of the strongest things you want to unlock, I guess it's really going to depend on what kind of a player you are and what you want to focus on, but I'll talk about some of the strongest things for you to unlock. One of the best things is actually in the crafting, because crafting gear is super important. Like you saw all of that gear on my heroes. Now, one of the ways to get that over time, free to play, is by crafting it realistically. And the requirements to unlock them aren't that bad. So what you're after are these right here: unlock uncommon equipment upgrades. So that's how you upgrade to uncommon. And then the same thing, like these aren't actually that difficult to obtain because you only need level 1 of 10 for each of these steps along the way. So within a short time frame, you can actually get a mortal equipment upgrade unlock, which is actually crazy because that's the best gear tier in the game. Like normally when it comes to best in slot style unlocks, like you find them very, very close to the end. However, with the gear upgrade, I'm actually surprised how easy it is to unlock the immortal equipment. So this is something that you really should do as soon as you can to potentially get access to best in slot gear. The second thing I want to talk about in the research tree, this is probably the first one you should really get. If you don't have this, you need to do it right now. If you go to battle, all you have to do is unlock the first tier scout and then deployment of a number of troop deployments. This basically determines how many troops you can have out gathering. So to be able to have this so early on, this is like super imperative. You need to have this. So grab this. Now the next one, there's actually an additional one of the number of troop deployments. It's actually not too far down to give you another one, but it does require level 7 rally, level 7 rally troop, and level 7 rally troop HP, which is basically you're getting all of these to level 7 because you can't unlock the one after, but without the one before the preceding requirement. So that's kind of tedious. But if you're looking for like a goal to work towards within the first little while, this is really strong because then you're going to be able to have another hero with an army being able to gather constantly. So I mean, it's kind of a big investment early on, but it makes a really big deal. So that's one of the things that I'm working on right now. And then there's even another one later on. Just don't worry about this one, not yet. Work on the first. Work on the first two. Let's talk about Lord skills. Now there's basically two trees. You have economy and battle. Now these are extremely important and very can have a huge influence on what you're trying to focus on. Even if you don't really want to focus on battling, obviously you're going to want to be putting points into the economy. If you don't really want to be focusing on the economy and you're more concerned about battling, obviously you're going to want to have more points in battling. However, I've came up with a really good hybrid build that I feel is really good for right now until I get more Lord points, so I can have a little bit of battling. I can also kind of get whatever I want from the economy tree, and I'll go over those with you guys so you can see it. One thing to note about these trees is that when you are putting points into these trees, you get a significant bonus from completing it. Like from levels 8 to 9 and 9 to 10 is way more efficient than levels 1 through 8. So make sure that you are paying attention to that. Like my wood production rate, for example, it's up to 20%, but I only have 5% right now with only 5 points. So if I put 5 points into this, I'm gonna get 15% additional wood production. And that same concept applies to basically every single little aspect of these trees, with the exception of a couple. So like my wood gathering speed, I've been gathering a ton. I've got the gathering gear, I've got marches. So this 20% wood gathering to me was very important. So I'm just going to go over all this in case you want to do it slowly. 10 out of 10 on construction speed, 10 out of 10 on research, 5 out of 10 on wood production. This is so that I can get other things first. Eventually, maybe I'll come back to wood production. But because I don't have a ton of nodes that are level 30 that are constantly producing, I feel like that's less important. Gathering, a very important 10 out of 10. Troop capacity, this is a really big deal. You're going to need this if you want to have a ton of large troop marches going out to be able to gather as much as you can in one go around. So troop capacity is very important. Troop training capacity, 10 out of 15. And these trees you have to get at least 10 to go from one to the next. Otherwise, I only would have put 5 in troop training capacity. Training costs, that's big. So I had 15 there. Troop training speed, 15 out of 15. Construction speed, this is huge. 65% construction reduction is insane. So it's a lot of points, but it's well worth it. And this is where I actually stopped in the economy tree for my hybrid build, because I don't really care about traps. I'm not worried about healing, reserves, and then you have producing nodes. Like these gathering nodes would be good, but the amount of points I have to spend along the way just to be able to finally get something that I'm interested in just doesn't seem worth it to me. Until maybe I get more points. And the only thing that's really something that I want to get is the research speed. But that's so far away. That's so many points away. And it's like I can't even reach that tier if I wanted to. And even if I could reach this tier, I wouldn't be able to get 30 out of 30. And you need to be able to get 30 out of 30 for this to be worth going for. So I mean, I'll probably use like, you know, skill resets or something to be able to like reach this. But for now, I don't need to. If we go to the battle tree, 10 to 10 march speed. I'm working on monster hunt attack so I can get better monsters. So once I leveled up, I'll finish this to 10%. 10 to 10 troop attack, 5 out of 10 march attack, 10 to 10 hero attack, 10 to 10 max AP. This is huge. 300 extra AP is a lot. That way, if you're sleeping, your hero AP shouldn't max out and you're wasting the regenerate. 10 out of 15 cavalry attack. I'm going to be working on that because that's really good for 5 points. Cavalry defense, 10 out of 15. Cavalry HP, 10 out of 15. And deployment troop size. This is huge. 15,000 extra troops on your deployment. That's also one of the things that's going to affect how much you can gather, if you can gather like a whole node all at once, especially a tier 7 node. And that's where I stopped. And that way I'm kind of getting everything that I want to get for now. However, there's a lot of really good things in the attack tree, but it's just I don't have a high enough lord level to be able to get everything that I want right now. So that is basically the points that I use for lord skills, and I hope that it helped you out. Okay, so if you're wondering a little bit more in detail how to get some of the best equipment in the game, if you do complete those events that are going on every hour, you will have access to some of the chests. So I kind of wanted to go over that briefly, just so some of you could kind of see how the process of crafting. All this information in these games can be very overwhelming, so I'm just trying to cover as much as I can. All right, so for a sagacious material chest, I got these from completing an event, so I'm gonna just open all of them. So what you're hoping for when you get this is actually immortal tier resources. So I actually did get one, the immortal tier sapphire, and I'll show you what that's useful for later on. So epics are good, blues are good, but you're really after the immortal ones. They're actually really rare, so it's kind of cool that I actually got one. Same thing with the hammers. You need the hammers to take a piece of gear from like one tier to the next. So if you do end up crafting something that's not exactly the tier you want, you can actually always upgrade it later. So let's go into the crafting building so I can kind of show you guys, and I really want to make sure I hit this so that the one person that watches this that's actually curious knows what he's doing. All right, so we're gonna craft equipment. I would say it kind of depends. Like you want to try and, you know, you can't craft a set if you don't have any of the materials. So just kind of look through all the sets periodically over time from completing events to see if you have some of the materials to craft something. So, I mean, I really want to get the research speed because researching in this game is so important, and the construction, of course, to make things a little bit easier to build. So if I can make any of these, they're probably the most important thing to focus on first. So like I have these materials up top here. I've got the immortal cube. I've got an epic bow. I've got 2 rare rocks. I mean, I have all the pieces from this. So based on the tier of the materials that I have determines the chance. So if you see here, I have a 0% chance for the black, 0% for gray, 0% for green, and this is because none of my materials are of those quality. So since my smallest tier quality is 2 blues, I have a 50% chance if I press craft right now where it's going to end up being rare. So if I click on rare, it shows you that item's stats. This is still a way better research helm than what I have. And when you do craft this, you can still make it epic and legendary. You can, definitely, easy. You have to use the hammers. So when it comes to making these helms, like you could always like change the immortal piece to maybe a lower tier item. So like I have this green one here, right? So if I want to select, now obviously all the chances change dramatically. Like there's no more of a chance to get immortal, but now I have a higher chance for a green, a rare, which is blue, but now a small chance for green, which kind of sucks because that would be really bad. But I still have a small chance for epic. I would say if you're going to be using immortal equipment in a craft, you probably want to have at least 2 or maybe 3 pieces of immortal. Now I don't have like a piece of thing, something that I can make where I would have all immortal equipment. I'm pretty sure even if I had all immortal equipment, I don't think it'd still be would be 100% chance to craft. I'm honestly not sure. Well, maybe it'll let me just do it. No, it won't. Yeah, so it's tough to say, but that kind of gives you like a general overview. So I mean, over time, like let's maybe just check out the Guardian set. Guardian set's pretty good. You can just kind of click through all the pieces to see, you know, do you have one of everything to be able to craft something. Like I could craft this shield with a 7% chance of being immortal. Let's just look through. Let's look through. Let me see. I got a 25% chance to craft a Berserker helm. So of all the sets, the Berserker set I believe is the easiest to craft. Yeah, it definitely is. This is probably the hardest, the glorious stuff, which with a really high construction speed. Yeah, these are not easy to make, unfortunately. But the Berserker set, this one's actually not that bad. The materials from this you can get from hunting, which is monster hunting. So these actually aren't so bad to craft. So you can see that I have multiple immortals. If I had one more immortal ring, I believe that would be a 100% chance to craft this Berserker sword, which is 60% infantry attack and 900 hero attack. Now that's not going to be as good as, like, let's say from the Berserker set. Let's go to the Conqueror set. It's not going to be as good as, let's say, one of these. Like if I go to the Conqueror Claymore and then I go to Immortal, like I'm losing about 40% attack on my infantry, and I'm losing about 600 hero attack, which is significant, but... So I mean, but if you're looking for like a good budget build, the Berserker set's going to be probably the best thing to work on crafting and getting like an entire immortal set towards. The other gear is going to take you a while, but eventually you'll get it over time. Okay, the next thing I want to go over is how to, or basically what I think is one of the better setups to go is in terms of like all of your nodes, on which ones you should have built. So this is just my opinion. Someone else might think that, you know, there's a better way to do it. And that's cool. That's fine. This is the way that I'm going to do it though, and I just want to share it with you in case that you were like, oh yeah, it's not a bad idea. Okay, so first and foremost, you need to have at least one farm, one wood generator, one steel generator, or iron generator. You need to have at least one of all of those, so you don't really have a choice because you need to have certain, basically one of each for certain requirements to be able to build just everything in your kingdom. So that's that. With that being said, you have to have at least one of everything, but then you have the ability to make other things. Initially through the story, like it has you make an additional one, a second one. However, at least so far, you can go back and you can delete that. It's totally cool. That's up to you. You don't have to have two of everything. So one of the things that I want to have a lot of are the barracks. So if I go into the details, these basically determine troop training speed. You know, this game, it's a war game. It's all about how much power you have, how fast you generate armies and that kind of thing. So these are, I feel like barracks are extremely important. You can always discover more about something by clicking on the more icon. And so you can kind of like plan ahead and kind of figure out, you know, one day this can go up to level 30. And as you can see, it's 15% additional troop training speed. And now this is actually something that I didn't realize. So at level 25, you actually get increased defense of all troops, 2% for each building, and it's stackable. And basically now I don't know if these are all additive, like 2% at 25, 2% at 26, 2% at 27, and then 5% at 30. Not 100% sure on that. I think it might just be a passive, but then that passive jumps up to 5% at 30. Honestly, I have no idea. I'll have to ask someone maybe from the dev team and see if I can get some clarification on that. But I mean, if you were to have, let's say, 10 of the training barracks and you're getting 5% defense each, let's assume that it's just 5%, not 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. It might be though, because that would be an even 10%. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. Well, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Maybe someone that actually, if someone actually knows, put it in the comments on the YouTube video. That would be fantastic. But again, we'll go back to my point. We'll just assume it's 5%. So I mean, if you had 10 of those, that's 50% extra defense for all troops. Plus the training speed is awesome too. So I feel like 10 barracks is a no-brainer. Now, when you're battling and if you die in this game, when you're battling, if someone's attacking you, you're attacking other people, you're gonna have injured troops. And so hospitals, I feel like, are very important. You might feel like in the beginning that it's like, oh man, these aren't that important. I want to make other things. But I'm telling you, the day that it goes down and you're in a position where you need to heal a lot of troops, you will be glad that you had these hospitals. So if you do go into the more, and if that doesn't sell you enough, just look at this. You're like, increase HP of all of your troops. I mean, if you had 10 of these at level 30, that's 50% extra HP for all of your troops. So I mean, if the hospital aspect of it isn't appealing, 50% HP for all of your troops, like that has to seem appealing. So hospitals, boom, 10 of them. So 10 hospitals, 10 training barracks, and then the other one that caught my eye that has a nice passive is actually silver. You need a lot of silver for researching, so I mean, you're going to want that as a resource. But again, it kind of came down to me going to more and then looking ahead to see that you actually get attack from silver. So I mean, 5% all attack, so 50% attack, 50% extra defense, 50% extra HP from the silver mines, training barracks, and hospitals, to me, is the best way to go. Now, if you do notice, there are a couple extra plots that I haven't used yet. I don't know what I want to make on that. I have to kind of decide. It's either going to end up being, it's not going to be food. It'll end up being wood, iron, or stone, and that's just going to basically be whichever gear I have the most multipliers for, and whatever that ends up being. So I mean, I could actually look at that. So if I go to heroes, because I believe I put my, yeah, I did. I put my production gear on my treasurer. So I mean, I've got 105% wood production, 105% stone, and 90% iron. And I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna get better gear later on. So they're pretty close. It's just gonna depend on being a preference at that point on which one I'm gonna need more, and then I'll make a couple of those. But yeah, I hope that this was kind of informative, or helps you decide on what you want to use your plots for. Alright guys, so that about does it for this video. We went over a ton of information. I know there's a lot more that I haven't been able to cover. It's not possible to cover everything you want to know about a game like this in one video. However, the next video that I'm going to be putting out, which will be later today, the same day that this video is published, which should be Friday, May 18th, we're going to have an advanced combat guide. We're going to go out there. I haven't actually attacked anyone in this game yet. We're going to try and find some players unshielded, and we're going to try and get some resources. So we might be learning some of the same, because I haven't actually done any of the combat, so it'll be a learning experience for both of us. But I will expend my resources, I will expend my troops so that we can learn together, and we'll do an advanced combat guide. So if you like this video, please leave a comment, like it if you did. If you have any questions, use the comments. Subscribe if you want to see more content from me in the future. Also, feel free to go on Twitch. I stream on Twitch all the time. That's where I do most of my content. And then feel free to stop by. It's twitch.tv/KoopaTroopa787. And looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have enjoyed Iron Throne so far. And if you guys, let me know too what you like about the game, or maybe some things that you don't like. And I can take those comments and feedback to the developers. So I appreciate everything, guys. Take care, and we'll see you soon.